Yes, people, 1 second. 1 second. 1 sec. New camera. Had it on last time. Interesting. Now you guys can actually see me properly. Jeez. Ah, this camera's fire. Guys can actually see me properly now. Hey, come on. So yeah, welcome to episode 80 of the After Boundary Show. If you have just tuned in, do make sure to smash that like button and subscribe button. To discuss a few different stuff, but the main three stuff we will touch on is South Africa versus Australia World Test Championship final. New Zealand dominating Sri Lanka currently in day series they are playing in. And then we've got Dan Christian, former player, making a surprise return. And so, yeah, be up yourself, Chelsea fan, be up. So, apologies if you see this. Don't know what it is, but yeah. Let's then get started with it all. Be up to every single one of you are tuning in. Expecting a few of the guys to join in a few minutes. Should roll through. Let's start with South Africa versus Pakistan. Then South Africa clean sweep Pakistan, and Pakistan, and we qualified for the World Test Championship final. So yeah, it wasn't all easy, but we done the business and got it all over the line. So yeah, be up to yourself, Chess fan. Be up, like I said. So let's then get started with it all. So let's start with the first test. I went to, of course, this was the one we were looking at. Centurion, a ground where South Africa have a really good record at against most teams. I went to the first day, of course, we won this. The vlog is out there. Is it the vlog out there? No, the vlog is not out there. I did record stuff. I did not put out a vlog. Apologies. But yeah, I will sort this out later. Anyway, I I did go to this. I probably should have posted a few stuff, but oh well. Was just busy on the holiday. But yeah, Pakistan 211 bowled all out. Um, before except Gulam and Amir Jamal, there wasn't really any threat from them. I know Gulam, I think it's Gulam and Jamal put up a really good partnership. If I remember correct, that they put up. I'm glad you enjoyed it. That was the ODI one. I remember it. So yeah. So yeah. First day, of course, Patterson. I should actually show you the cap of it. I will now. One sec. So yeah, Patterson took a fiver. Corbin Bosch was so close to getting a fiver, but he got 4 wickets. In the end, it almost felt like it costed us a few runs because we were just trying to give him that fifth wicket. course, in his maiden test debut. So we were pushing to try and get uh, him that fiver, but unfortunately, he just couldn't get it done. He just couldn't get it. Get it. We let um, yeah, and we let a few runs too many because of that. But you know what? Fair play to him. He done extremely well in that. Dan Patterson bowled exceptionally well. But the no balls five from Patterson, that's an issue we will get into later on. Then South Africa batted. Only saw a few of it, a bit of it. Yeah, but we did see action when I was there, day one in the stadium. So yeah, Aidan Markram, 89, carried really the innings, and then we were in a bit of trouble. We were how many? Uh, we were, we were chasing 211, and we were 119 for 7, and you're thinking we should get there, but we won't boost that much of a lead. But then step in Corbin Bosch on his test debut, and he smacks at 81 of 93 balls. Exceptionally well done by Corbin Bosch. Um, he done fantastic, fantastic work. Um, so now fantastic job by Corbin Bosch. Great job. That 81 really saved us because if he goes out cheaply, we don't have that big of a lead. Him and Sarah to Kagiso Radaba, him and Kagiso Radaba almost put up a 60-run partnership. Dane Patterson as well on him. So well done to these guys for sticking with him because Aidan Markram went out in at 213. So the last three, but almost put up together, almost put up 100 runs. 213. We ended up with 301. So, yeah, so not too bad, not too bad. Of course, bowling wise, Nashim Shah, Jamal, 50-50. Pakistan then batted, and Saim Ayub, Shan Masood, Babar Azam all got scores. Nobody really kicked on. Gulam Pur, Short Shakil, done well. He done really well, 84. But nobody really got going. But the pitch was doing a lot. It was not an easy pitch to bat on. The pitch was doing a lot. Shout out to Janssen who took 6 wickets after not being great in the first innings in terms of bowling. We were really, when I was there at the stadium, we were like, "What is this bowling from him?" But stepped it up the second innings when we needed him, and he takes 6 wickets. A fair play to him. Chasing 148, the pitch was doing a lot. It was very tough to bat on. This is what probably around this is day 3, day 4. And we now have to bat, and Mohammad Abbas puts up on a clinic, an absolute clinical performance. Takes 6 wickets, 54 runs, 19.3 over 6 maidens, economy of 2.76. Crazy shift. So we batted in the last part of day 4, and we started to bat. and then of course the break and play. He started the morning. He bowled from the morning till after the till after lunch. From the morning till after lunch, he bowled, and absolutely magnificent. So great job from Mohammad Abbas. Sensational return to Test cricket for him after what was 3 years at the time in 2024, last year or 3 years ago. He last played Test cricket, and he made a great return. But yeah, 150. We got the shout to Marco Janssen, Kagiso Radaba. So those two making a lot the last stand basically, and securing the W. Um, so no, absolutely well done to, and that one secured the World Test Championship. And I think this test, especially this one, the first test, it showed that we truly are a team. Because if we weren't a team, we falter. Because we were 99 for 8. If we weren't a team, if we weren't that good, if we weren't that good, they bowl us out for probably 120, 130. But they didn't. 155. Commendable job. And that secured when that testified to me that we can go on to win the World Test Championship. And we'll get on to that a bit later on. But yeah, joining me is the man, the myth, the legend, Manny. Yes, Manny. How are you?
Yeah, but first of all, let me say congratulations. South Australia at Lords doesn't get any better than that. Arguably the two, I mean, undoubtedly the two best Test sides in world cricket today. And of course, Australia recovering, having their own recovery from a setback at Perth to win that series 3-1. We'll talk about that. But obviously, South Africa deserve the all the plaudits they can get. 7 consecutive Test wins. Now, I suppose I'll start by asking you a question. In your short time as a cricket fan, obviously you will have seen great teams of the past. And I take a look at this team, aside from maybe Rabada and perhaps one or two others, I don't see any superstars, but they're a unit. And the thing about South African sports teams, be it cricket or rugby or any other, almost any other sport, is that they work together as a unit. I think I don't want to speak too much about Bafana, but obviously the Springboks and the Proteas have given you so many moments. If you were to compare this team with any other great team that you've seen earlier in your life, which do you think would be better?
Hmm. Which team would be better than this team? Um.
I'll
Hmm.
have to come back. I can't hear you.
Um. W- I have to think about this. Um. Which team would be better? Which team would be better than this team? Um. Hmm. That is a very good question because I have to think test wise because ODI T20 wise it's a different team. So test wise, hmm, I haven't seen good test. Wait, let me check quickly. There's one that 2019. Um, mm, I'm thinking test teams, and there's one test team I just want to quickly check. Um, Proteas versus England. Why is it? No. Yeah, it is. Um, where is it?
Yeah, just taking a look at this test. I mean, Rickleton, obviously, I'm really
Yeah,
making hay.
yeah, good, good. Just wanna check.
And of course, Kyle Verreyn also proving his worth as a lower order wicketkeeper who can definitely bat. So, yeah, I mean, from here, obviously, Bavuma's played for quite some time. Rabada's a bona fide superstar. But as I
Mm.
said, you're a team, you're a unit. There are no real actual
So,
superstars. I mean, apart from Rabada.
so I think this team might come close. Um, this was the first Proteas game I went to. The first test I went to. I haven't seen a test lost. Been part of a test series loss where I went to a test and we lost the series. But I will share this screen quickly. It's South Africa versus England in 2019, Boxing Day test in 2019, and Dean Elgar, Aidan Markram, Zubraya Hamza, Faf du Plessis, Rassi van der Dissen, Quinton de Kock, Dwayne Pretorius, Venon Philander, Keshav Maharaj, Kagiso Radhaban, and Rick Nortje. Um, Maybe potentially this team could be better. But yeah, it's it's tough. It's really tough. Um, so yeah, I would say this team is probably better. This one I'm looking at right now. Dean Alga, Malcolm, Hamza, Faf du Plessis, Van Edissen on paper. But if you ask me in terms of together as a unit, this team is much better because these players, most of these players, have come up through the ranks. They are friends. Rabada played with Markram. I think Jansen and Stubb sort of played together somehow. Mapaka's just come through, so he's about to run around the same age. So it's a few guys who have come together almost. It's players around the same age, except possibly a Vian Mulder who's a bit on the older side. Um, so yeah, but speaking about this test, the second one that just finished today, um, this belonged to Ryan Rickleton. 259, um, incredible, um, ton, Temba Bafuma 106, Calvarina 100, so absolutely magnificent. Um, you could see Rickleton was getting tired a lot. So he was batting really slower after he got his 200. He let Calvin take the charge and he smacked him around. Janssen 62. He was going for his 100. Um, Maraj done well. Got dismissed. Parker out second ball. So just complete dominance. 615. Thinking, how do they come back? Because this pitch wasn't doing much. It really wasn't doing much. And we also saw it. First innings, we took the wickets, but it was more case of them playing stupid shots and us getting the wickets like that. You look at Rizwan, he was playing really well. Then he decides to double step and try and hit one over mid wicket. and he's bold. You look at Baba Azam, nicked one off his pad of the bowling of Kwanama Parker. Shout out to Kwanama Parker, the youngest South African youngest South African to Test debutant. So shout out to him. Um, so yeah, man. 194. Rabada with 3, and we done really well. Then Pakistan second innings. I thought personally we should be able to. I thought we should have added 50 or so more runs, just end the game completely for them. Well, we didn't. We said follow on, go ahead, and Shan Masood with a great innings, 145, done really well. Finally got him out. There were a few shots that of LBW. I think it was dropped one time as well. So class innings from him, class. Then Baba Azam was doing exceptionally well. These two guys put up a 205 wicket run partnership. I think it's the highest partnership for Pakistan against South Africa, or maybe the highest partnership in days, or in terms of falling on one of the highest partnerships. So they did incredibly well, and then Baba some of kind of poor shot to go out to just play the ball outside of and sears it into the hands of Bellingham. Um, that's close of play. Sazadi's pushed up the order. Um, yeah, just can't dismiss really early. Um, Early today, Rabada gets another wicket. Um, so yeah, and then it's how many? Um, 278 for free. I think after lunch, almost around there for lunch. Just want to mention as well. Um, what is it? Uh, Siam Ayub. Uh, when we batted first, he chased one down to third man. And as he went to pick up the ball, they slapped it back to him. He picked up the ball. He twisted his ankle. Um, so he was out for the test, and I think in some ways it almost saved us. But yeah, unlucky for him. Very unlucky for him. Where is it? I think he fractured his right ankle. It is.
Yes, that's
So
right.
yeah, so speedy recovery to him, but that almost depleted their betting a bit more for us, um, because he's the inform batter. So yeah, Gulam, Shakil, yeah, 50-50. Where's the Mapaka boy? Oh yeah, so it was Mapaka got Sean Masood, and then Rabada got the wicket of Sean Shakil. And these guys were going strong for, but then it was Rizwan and Salman Aga, who these were the last two known batters for them, and they put up a really good partnership. Um, Almost a 100-run partnership between them before Rizwan went. And then Salman Aga survived a massive LBW shout He looked absolutely plump to me, and it looked like that for the commentators. The umpire gave one finally, and then just somehow he was he was the ball went over the wicket somehow. I still don't know how, but yeah. So yeah. And Jamal 34, Mir Hamza 16, and yeah. There's one thing I want to get onto, but I'll get into that now shortly. Just want to welcome Gulshan. Hope you're doing well.
Hello
Yes,
guys,
Gulshan.
hello. How are you? Hano, all good?
All good, all good. Um, just discussing, finishing up on this discussion. So yeah, we done really well for second innings. They got to lead of 58,
I'm
61
actually
reach.
surprised at the way Pakistan played against South Africa. I mean, like it's shocking because the guys that were ruled out, if you look at the names that were ruled out from the first test squad, they were the actual main players that play for South Africa. I mean, Tristan Sharp ain't a regular test starter.
He is.
Pakistan, I mean, yeah, see, even South Africa
Tristan
lacked,
Substitute.
experience in their bowling because South
Yes.
Africa played Kavina Mabafa. The guy was debuting. Surprising
Mm.
display. Surprising display.
Um. Yeah. Tristan Substitute is
And
a regular in the test
like,
squad.
and I know, like, I have been saying this thing for last around an year since I saw Ryan Nicholton play in South Africa T20I League. He's not getting chances at his right place, bro. He's such a good opener. He can be the next big thing for South Africa, at least for next 3 to 4 years. Ryan Nicholton has
Mm.
been misused by South Africa's management. If he would have played as an opener in the T20I World Cup, South Africa might have finished with a World Cup victory, and they might have came home to Johannesburg with a trophy. South African management doesn't know the potential of Ryan Nicholton. He's a fantastic player, yeah. And the innings
Mm.
that he scored in
I,
this match, hats off to him.
so there's two stuff I want to talk about quickly. South Africa don't have a number three now. That's the main thing. Um, because Tony DeZorsi was dropped for this test. He had a hamstring problem. Well, Ryan Rickleton opened alongside Markram, and Ryan Rickleton scored 259. Secondly, look at the amount of no balls we bowled. We bowled 18 in their follow on, and before in the other one, in their first innings, we bowled 13. So we bowled about 18. Sorry, we bowled about 31 no balls in about, what's that?
Sorry to
190.
interrupt, but just to mention, anybody who's watching this live stream, just take care of the fact that Vian Madler is not a regular test bowler. Na? Vian Madler is a right arm pace bowling all rounder. He has bowled around 12 to 13 overs. Fantastic
Mm,
display from him as well. South Africa were a one bowler down here. In this pitch, South Africa were one fast bowler down. Vian Madler is a fast bowling all rounder. Imagine the imagine Pakistani setup who was playing with a decent amount of fast bowling in them, and South Africa were one pacer down. They would have paid if these guys were if these guys had other plans, South Africa would have played another pacer. And any of these
mm,
innings, I just imagine the fact that Pakistan got bowled out for 180, 190 with South Africa being one pacer down. Also, Marco Jansen is not as good as other guys who are in bowling. I mean, I'm not very sure about Dane Patterson because Dane Patterson has been just included to the South African setup. The regular test fast bowlers that were there, which I guess included the likes of Andrik Nokia there as well. Lungi Nagiri was there as well. So these guys
mm,
are regular test bowlers. South Africa isn't
Yeah.
playing Lungi Nagiri. They are one pacer down. And Marco Hansen is not good with his bowling. I mean, he's a quite decent pacer, but he's not known for his bowling. He's also another bowling all-rounder. So Pakistan getting smacked left, right, and center by this inexperienced fast bowling, which contained only Rabada and Marco Hansen who had international bowling experience. Vian Madla is not a regular test pacer, guys.
Yeah, he isn't. He isn't.
I know.
He can.
Sorry, Grishan. And I was talking about this earlier on, actually, saying that when Pakistan were bowled out for less than 200, it was really down to some poor shot making from the Pakistan batsmen. And what you say there about the lack of experience, we did touch on it, actually. I was telling
Mm,
Hanno that this South African team is more of a unit. Only Rabada can be considered a bona fide superstar in that regard. And yeah, he
mm,
certainly has the wickets to prove it. But everyone knew their role and they played quite well. But I am going to
mm.
disagree with what Hanno said about not enforcing. You have a lead of 400. It makes sense to
Yeah.
do that. And if you were to take a look at the fall of wickets, Hanno, you'll see that when the sixth wicket fell, Pakistan had scored 417. That was Mohammad Rizwan. So that really was the point when Pakistan could really start counting. And when you lose that many wickets for effectively a single digit score, you know the match is more or less up. So South Africa did the right thing, but you know it would have made no difference, of course, whether or not they would have enforced the follow on. And as I said in the group chat, and maybe you'll remember this, Gulshan, the only one of the biggest wins by teams after being forced to follow on, one of the greatest ever, was of course in a Border Gavaskar Trophy match between India and Australia at Eden Gardens in 2001. I don't know if you have seen that match, but obviously you'll remember the stories about that with Lakshman and Dravid having that brilliant partnership and Harbhajan Singh, the Turbinator, pretty much spinning Australia to their doom. So, yeah, obviously the points that you've mentioned have pretty much been covered. And now, of course, obviously Hannah was,
Actually, Mani, the
talking
fact that
about
Hano was
comparing
like worried
teams,
about South
like comparing
Africa
this
being
team to a team he had seen earlier. And Hannah, you were saying that there is no number three, but surely
Mm.
by the time of the WTC final, Dazorzi should be back fit, right? Or aren't there any other South African batsmen who've been well, at least in the SAT20 or in the Curry Cup for first class scene?
Um. Yes, there's also would be back, but my thing is,
I'll be back.
you can't drop um a guy that just got 260 when opening, or Markram who got in the 80s in the first test. Um. So we are searching for that number three
you know
batter because we don't.
Hannah,
Yeah.
the only point where Pakistan lost this match. If Pakistan would have scored 150 more, and if they have given some runs to to their bowlers to defend, they would have been in a situation where they could have won the match. The only part where I always criticize Pakistan about is that Rizwan, South Shakil, every single batter that is there down the order knows how to bat. These guys are exceptionally well as batsmen in every single format. The only part where these guys don't know how to bat is they don't know how to carry the innings. Rizwan scored around 40 to 48 runs. South Shagi scored 40 to 48 runs. Guys, you have to carry on the fucking innings because it's cricket. I mean, if Shan Masood is scoring 130 odd runs, Babar Azam has scored runs, you have to play till the end. You have to score a decent amount of runs. I know it's very practical that a person who has scored around 40 runs knows how the track is behaving. He's already set on the crease. And this is where Pakistan lags. These guys have runs in the lower order. These guys have runs in the middle order, but no one has the ability to carry on and play a very big knock. And Rizwan, sorry to say, bro, leave the cricket. At least leave Test cricket, bro, because Mohammad Rizwan hasn't been consistent with his form in Test cricket. Babar Azam definitely has made a comeback. Shan Masood plays for Nottinghamshire in your English County Cricket League. These guys are specifically, test specialist. Shan Masood is a test specialist. Kamran Ghulam is a test specialist. Khurram Shehzad is a test specialist pacer. So Mohammad Rizwan, these guys need a fix over there, because if Mohammad Rizwan doesn't play that kind of anchor innings where he scores around 80 to 90 odd runs, helps the team out of tough situations, Pakistan won't ever singly win a test match outside their home. See, it's very easy for any single team to play on their home soil to win. Definitely, it's very hard for Pakistan to do that as well. But if you are playing in overseas conditions, you need reliable batsmen in middle order, and that's why, like, I need, if, like, even if that guy Jason Glipsy is not there, anybody who's the coach, just fix that problem as well, because Mohammad Rizwan needs to be aware of his wicket. The importance of his wicket is very much whenever Pakistan is playing up, and a test match outside their home. So
I
that's
think
where I thought that,
personally,
they got out.
um, for Pakistan, they needed another. They needed somebody that can hit 140. They needed a bowler that can hit consistently 140. They didn't. They opted for the more seam options in the second test. First test they had Nashim Shah. Second test it wasn't them, but they needed somebody with a bit of pace behind him in this test. But I want to come back to the number three issue for us, because it's a massive position in Test cricket, and personally, I think we might have to look at our domestic scene to maybe bring somebody up, because I don't know really who fills that role. Maybe a Temba Bavuma. Temba Bavuma um, has been phenomenal since he's been captain. Looking at it quickly, I saw the stats. Yeah, Bavuma's test captain, 9 matches, 809 runs, average of 57.78, 400, 450s, 300, high scores 172. Maybe he's the answer. Put him up at number three. Personally, I don't like that. I like him in his number four, number five role. Oh, where he can come in, he can bat off the tail, and he can do well. 4, 5, that is his area for me for Bafuma. Any eye, I don't think he can do it. We tried Tristan Subs at
No,
number 3, that has failed. I know Vian Moda, again, it doesn't look like it doesn't come off. But Temba Bafuma is our probably, with technique, is probably our best one.
yeah, I agree, Hanno. And I'm actually going to sort of talk a little bit about some of the specifics of Tender Bavuma's game. One of the nice the things about him is that he's a bit on the short side, yeah? But if you take a look at history, a large number of these people who are on the short side have probably been the best at playing short pitched bowling. Obviously, with the South African connection, you will probably have been told the stories of a certain Alan Joseph who had Langeban Veg, the Cape Province, quite far from you, I would imagine. And he, of course, couldn't play international cricket due to apartheid, but he moved to England along with Peter Kirsten and Garth LaRue, joined Northamptonshire as an overseas player, and then used ancestry to qualify to play for England. He was a somewhat short bloke, not very short per se, average height, 5'8". But when he joined the team, he ended up becoming one of their better players. Despite having a somewhat lower average, he was coming up against some really quality bowlers, especially the fast bowlers. But he was famous, of course, for scoring 6 centuries against the West Indies when they had some really ferocious fast bowlers in their ranks. And so because he was somewhat a shorter sort of bloke and had a lower center of gravity, he was able to, pull and hook the ball very well. Kenny Ken remembers him as being a fine back foot player. I think Bavuma, to me, seems to be that type of person who has the technique to be a good number 3 batsman. And let's not forget about Sachin Tendulkar, who also would, come in at number 3 or 4. He could, bat in either position. And obviously with England, I mean, Joe Root's not a short person at all, but he often, alternates, flips around between 3 and 4. But Bavuma, for me, I think because of his short stature, he seems to be probably one of the better batsmen in the team in terms of technique and ability to play different types of bowling, be it the short stuff from the faster bowlers, or be it some even some spinners. And he could very well be that type of person who could stay everything at number 3, especially if the openers aren't quite able to do their job. Then you can have Tristan Stubbs coming in at number 4. And another reason why I say this is because when you have a situation where the South African lower order is starting to score a lot more runs, and obviously you'll remember Quinton de Kock used to do that, but now Kyle Verreynne is able to do that. I'm not sure you necessarily need Bavuma to bat with the tail. I think he might be at his best batting at number 3, where he can possibly see off the faster bowlers and then maybe deal with the spinners. I think in terms of technique, he might actually be one of the best batsmen in the team, if not the best outright. So I like him at number 3. I think he'd probably be your secret weapon there.
Maybe. Don't know if he wants to bat at 3, but yeah. But just looking at this first innings, team should. So let's say Bavuma moves up to number 3. I think Stubbs moves down to 5, and then I think we put Bellingham in at 4. I just want to quickly.
Yeah, Bellingham.
Yeah, Bellingham. I think he played batted number 4 when we played against New Zealand earlier in this year. Let me just quickly check. Or earlier last year. Where did he bat? He batted a number 5 as well. So that's gonna be a toss up between Bellingham and Stubbs, who takes at number 5 spot. Maybe it's Vian Mulder who takes number 5, that number 4 spot. I don't know. I think the thing is, yeah, maybe I think Stubbs is a 5-6 batter, number 5-6 batter.
Yeah,
Bellingham 5 as well. So
that's what I'm thinking. So because you take Livingston, for instance, he's well known for being a very big hitter in limited overs cricket. So having him down at 5 or 6 would make some sense. So obviously you've got Markram and Rickleton opening. De Zorzi might also lend some competition. So Bavuma at 3, maybe I'd say Bellingham at 4, and either Mulder or Stubbs can come in at 5 or 6. That way you got some flexibility, and then you got Kyle Verreynne bowlers.
Yeah, I want to quickly check. I know there's one time we played. So, is it the Sri Lanka test they played in? See, this could be close to the lineup we go with. So, put Bavuma in at number 3. Move Stubbs down. And then maybe shift Bellingham up. But it's tough to call. So, yeah, but we will. One thing is,
and what's also tough, I'll just be brief on this, is that now with Rickleton having scored that big double ton, De Zorzi can't just walk back in, can he?
Yeah, that's my point in terms of number 3, because Rickleton was the number 3. We tested him out there, in the first test. Rickleton at number 3, and it did not come off because it didn't come off. I think he's an opener personally. So yeah. But what we bowled 31 no balls in about 119 overs. Do you think that's a concern, and how can it be solved?
Well, one thing which I remember from the BGT, the Border Gavaskar Trophy, is that both Australia and India did have problems with the no ball themselves. And, it's a difficult issue, really. And obviously, in a previous stream, I think we were talking about not on the stream. On the group chat, we were obviously talking about the spot fix controversy, that crime actually, where Mohamed Amir and Mohamed Asif were bowling some very outrageous no balls. One particular no ball saw Amir literally go more than a foot beyond the crease. And then Pakistan coach Waqar Younis was incensed and told him, "What the hell was that? Why did you do that?" And then, but the ringleader said, "I told him to bowl a bouncer because the batsman was getting on the front foot." But anyway, when you take a look at the no ball issue, it does seem to be a question of bowlers not quite being able to maybe get their footing right. And I think with Lords, the Lords cricket ground where the WTC final will be played, you very rarely see bowlers bowling these no balls because they're quite aware of their, aware of where the crease is and so forth. But it is something that obviously the bowlers are going to have to try and practice, and they're going to have to make sure that they, really get their run up right and make sure that they, get their footing strong, because it can also happen that sometimes once you land as soon as you bring your arm down for the follow through, you could possibly end up slipping a little bit. I think a little bit of practice will do them good. So look, when it comes to bowling no balls, you shouldn't really worry. And let's also not forget that Pakistan were trying their best to, bat as well as they could in a faint hope of saving the test after being forced to follow on. But with a lead of over 400, you were never really in danger of seeing them mount like any sort of a challenge. So I would say don't worry about the no balls. Just practice the run up and make sure that you get your marks right, and also check your footwear and make sure that you aren't slipping while you run. And I think you should be fine.
Okay. Yeah. No, hopefully we will be. But speaking about the WTC final, South Africa found out their opponents a few days ago, with Australia winning the BGT, the Border Gavaskar Trophy, for the first time in 13 years. And it was just a poor display from India all throughout the season. It was really Bumrah versus Australia at times. Um, I don't know what do you make of it.
Well, it does seem to me that India were carrying a lot of scars from the home whitewash against New Zealand, where the black caps literally left them feeling black and blue, as opposed to India just wearing blue. And obviously, the form of Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli was a big concern coming in. Sharma obviously couldn't really, get his act together in time, but Kohli was able to get a fine ton, a good century at the first test in Perth. And Bumrah being captain, obviously, everything he touched turned to gold. He won the toss at both Perth and Sydney when he led the team, and on both occasions opted to bat first. And at Perth, he literally was the one who made everything happen when it came to bowling. And while Australia abundantly to dismiss India 50, you just had a feeling that the likes of Nitish Reddy and others would have proved to be important, and it did. Started to die down a little bit, and Jaiswal and company ended up making hay. And India were cock a hoop, but then Australia fought back, who always did. And I don't know if it would be fair to say that Rohit's return to the team really was the catalyst of their misfortune. I think that was a bit harsh, because again, Australia just did their homework and found out what they had, and they ended up playing a lot of cricket, winning every single all big moments from there on in. And I think in Sydney, you're spot on when you say that it was effectively Bumrah against India, because it started well for India in a way, although Australia were bowling brilliantly. I mean, India did quite well to dismiss Australia for a total that was 4 runs less, but you just felt that with Bumrah getting that injury, his absence was really the difference between Australia getting close to India's total and being dismissed for an even more paltry score. But you could just tell that the Australians were confident, and it was Scott Boland who obviously made things happen. And I see you've got the scorecard up there. Again, you couldn't really think of any Indian batsman who stood up to be counted in either innings, except for Rishabh Pant. And Rishabh Pant was given a lot of stick for his dismissals in Melbourne. He was probably the one batsman who threatened to take the game away from Australia and give India that impetus. And of course, we see Bumrah with a little cameo there of 21st innings. But once Pant got out, there was hardly anyone who was able to do really contribute. I think Nitish Reddy had that brilliant century at the MCG on his at the MCG, but he wasn't able to replicate that and barely survived getting a king pair. And I think injury just with that injury, you just saw the confidence start to sap a little bit, because although they were bowling brilliantly, India, they knew that Australia weren't too far away. And I think Australia, ruthless as they were, they saw an opportunity and they just, they just capitalized on it. They knew that India were feeling a bit nervous. They knew that India were going to be under pressure to win the test, to retain the trophy. But Australia just cranked it up. Boland, Cummins, and I say well done to Cummins as well for removing Mitchell Starc from the attack when Jaiswal was, literally creaming him over. He scored 16 runs in boundaries, including 3 in a row from Stark's first over, and Stark just wasn't able to get his line. He was being hit. So you take a look at the scorecard. Stark wasn't bowled very much. It was Boland and Cummins and Lyon to an extent. And but when you consider the Boland came in to Josh Hayward, Boland really stepped up magnificently, and there's going to be some tough competition for places for the Sri Lanka tour and also the WTC final, and it's going to be very interesting indeed. And I think India, when they got out for that paltry score of 150 odd, you could tell that I think their confidence had gone. They'd given up the ghost. Virat Kohli was trying his best to, as stand-in captain, make something happen. And the support bowlers were doing their best, but they were never going to have the same impact that Jasprit Bumrah did. And as for Australia, well, it was very difficult to pick who would be the man of the series. I know that Travis Head scored about 4 runs, but after 2 big centuries at Brisbane, Adelaide and Brisbane, he didn't really do very much afterwards. And the same can be said of Steve Smith. And how cruel was it for him to be denied the chance to get his 10,000th test run on his home ground of Sydney? That's really got to sting. And, several of the batsmen didn't really have a good series, because Bumrah was literally bashing them out. Usman Khawaja was literally, made into a shadow, a match-winning 41 here at Sydney, over at Sydney, but he just wasn't able to. I think he made it clear that he still felt good, just that Bumrah was too good for many batsmen. Labuschagne, McSweeney, even Smith struggled, as did Travis Head and quite a few others. And more often than not, it was the lower order, Cummins in particular, who were able to save Australia. But you see how Australia once again have that battling spirit, that fighting spirit, and they play as a team. And in Pat Cummins, I think they've got the best captain in world cricket today. No disrespect to Tendra Bavuma, far from it. But I think Cummins, ever since taking the job from Tim Payne, who was forced to resign in disgrace, I think he's pretty much gone to another level as a cricketer and as a leader. And he's right up there with the greats. and everyone seems to enjoy playing with him. And Australia are in a good place right now. So you South Africans are going to have a tough game on your hands, believe me.
No, definitely, definitely. Well, of course, the last time we played against each other, um, oh, in South Africa was sandpaper issue. Um, so yeah, after that, I think it was seriously in Australia where we didn't really do anything. Um, South Africa versus Australia test. Um, I know. Yeah, well, it was a few years ago since we played. So yeah, South Africa in Australia, 2022-23, where we lost both the first test and the second test. But then, yeah, we won the team back then. So, what was the Australia team? Mm. But we faced all the same guys, basically. So, uh, uh, um, so yeah, the last time we played in against each other was 2022-23. 2022-2023. Um, Pretty much the same team for Australia back then. Um, David Warner, Kawaja, Labush Skachny, Stephen Smith, Travis Head, Cameron Green, Alex Carey, Pat Cummins, Nathan Lyon, Mitchell Stark, Scott Boland. So yeah, pretty much the same team. That was a 3-match test series, which they won 2-0. A few changes from us. Sarah Arvia not anymore, Rossi not there, Kaya Zondo not there. Maybe that's the answer. Thinking about it now, maybe Rossi van isn't. Maybe he's the answer. Maybe he comes back into the not into the team setup, um, test team setup. So yeah, but fair play to Australia, and yeah, they done absolutely fantastic. So congrats to them, and we'll see you all in the final, man. We'll see you all in the final. Any sponsorships or flight tickets and accommodation would be massively appreciated. Um, so yeah, I'm, I just need to see how the school is, how the school schedule is. Last year of school, so I doubt that I'll get anything done. But if there's a way, I'm gonna try and get there because again, I have not seen a test loss. Again, that's all I'm saying. Every time I've been to a test match game, I haven't seen a loss. So I just want to bring
But
back good luck.
you've got to promote yourself as some sort of a lucky charm. I mean, obviously Pakistan have had this gentleman named Cha Cricket for a long time. You've got to try and do some self promotion, son.
Because I've been to three and we won all three. So
Exactly,
that's all
that's
I'm
what I'm
saying.
saying. Do self promotion. Say that you're their lucky charm. Try and get a ticket to try and get the let's say the South African
I
Cricket
first
Board
want
to
to see what the
sponsor to
ticket
pay for your
prices is.
ticket.
When let's check. When are the tickets coming out? Because it should be coming out early soon. Is it out yet? Mm, is it coming out? Let's check on the ICC. Um, so yeah, yada yada yada. Yada 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 yada. It Trying to get the chance richer and to the ticket to so okay, so you can register now. Oh, I should try register actually. Think about it. Yeah. But that's on the side note. Nah, we'll see if I can somehow get it done. But again, it depends on the school stuff because last year of school, so I have to get it done. But speaking about more cricket, Australia dominates Sri Lanka in the T20 series. They're currently leading in the ODI series. It's all looking very good for the Black Caps. First T20, they won by 8 runs. Dominant display. Second one, they won even more better. Then a massive display with the bat from Sri Lanka. I believe Kusa Pereira got 100. Yeah, gets 100. Kusa Pereira. Sri Lanka gets 446. And Kusa Pereira, I believe he's the third Sri Lankan to get a T20 100. So massive achievement for him. And then the first ODI is a complete whitewash, basically. For except Avishka Fernando, um, it's a complete whitewash. Matt Henry, Jacob Duffy, Nathan Smith. So New Zealand, including some different players in terms of bowling. You look there, Mitchell Hay, Nathan Smith, Jacob Duffy, Mark Chapman. So a few younger guys coming through. Is you love to see. Also, Ravindra opening the batting. That's interesting to see. But again, only chasing 180. So yeah. Two ODIs left in the series. Another clean sweep. Another series one for New Zealand. Money.
Well, they're improving, and as you've mentioned, this is a somewhat younger team with without the likes of Williamson and Latham and others. Obviously, Southey's retired. He in fact he wasn't even in the limited overs picture for quite some time now. So it's wonderful to see New Zealand developing some new talent, some young talent coming through, and they will, of course, replace a lot of the older generation. What we're seeing now with the likes of Southey and Williamson and company is a slow changing of the guard. I think Williamson might be around for a bit of time yet, at least in the Test team. I think his limited overs days might be all done and dusted, but we'll have to see. And as far as Sri Lanka are concerned, also still trying to find their way back and certainly performing well enough. I believe they won one of the T20s, and they can still compete, mind you. They can still compete, but it's going to be a slow process for them to continue to do as well as they're doing. And they were doing quite well before this series, I think, at least as a limited overs team. I think they still have to keep fighting hard and making sure they stay committed. And if they do, then they'll find their way back. Maybe not necessarily to the top, but they will be there or thereabouts. And of course, with the Champions Trophy coming up, every single ODI has to be considered important. But I don't think Sri Lanka are going to be there. I don't think the West Indies and New Zealand will obviously want to get all the practice they can get. And as for a little bit more experience and something they can build on for the next cycle, maybe.
Potentially, yeah, no, potentially. And I expect them to build on it all. They've got some youngsters. I think Sri Lanka, they can compete. I'm probably going to give them one. Just don't know. Yeah. Just don't know how they fare with it all. I think ODIs away from home a bit tough, but they've got experience there, so why not? But I'm going to go. I will give them one. I will give them the Auckland one. I think New Zealand ended all 2-1.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay. We'll move on now. Just quickly wanna. Okay. Uh, okay. So, let's move on to then Afghanistan versus Zimbabwe. Um, it came down to the final day, or the fourth day. No, the final day. And it was about 70 odd they needed. Zimbabwe with 2 wickets in hand, but in the end, it was just too much of a toss. Um, um, so yeah, like I said, they needed around 70 odd runs. I think 78 at the close of play. So they lost the wickets pretty quickly. Um, so yeah, Craig Irvine put up a fight, but nobody really else supporting him. Let's just have a look at the records that were broken. Farid Ahmad and Zaire Ur Rehman 27-run partnership is Afghanistan's highest for 10th wicket in Test, breaking the record of 21 between Wafdar and Mujib. So that's a record broken. Ramad Shah and Ishmat Alam's 132-run partnership is Afghanistan's highest for the 7th wicket in Test, breaking the record of 54 between Ibrahim Zadran and Abdul Wasi. Yamin and Ishmat Alam's 38-run partnership is Afghanistan's highest for the 9th wicket in Test, breaking the record of 31 between Ashkar Afghan and Fadar. Ramat Shah scored 300s in Test, and most for Afghanistan, breaking Ashmatullah's record. Ashmatullah has broken a record for the most Tests as captain for Afghanistan, going past Ashkar Afghan. And yeah, I just want to check the second test. Sorry, the first test, because there was records broken in that as well, I would assume. No records broken. Nothing. No records broken. Okay. Then we'll have a look at this first test quickly. Yeah, Sean Williams, Craig Irvine, Brian Bennett, turning up with hundreds. Afghanistan turned those hundreds into 200s. Abdul Malik, Ramad Shah, Ashmatullah Shadi, the Afshar Zai. So massive scores, massive. Um, how big was this? Ramad Abdullah Malik. So Ramad Ahmed Shah would come in after the first wicket. Dullah Malik. So from 64 for 2 to 428 for 3. Just picture that. You think you may be in the driving seat. You've got the team. Arnab, it's in the Instagram group. It's in the Instagram group. 64 for 2, you're thinking, oh, we've got them on the ropes here. Then they put up 428 for 3. Almost a 400 run stand. Absolutely crazy. That is crazy. Jeez.
Don't forget the 200 runs for the fourth wicket. That's also amazing. But
Okay.
well done to Brian Bennett. I think he had a century and took something like 5 wickets in that match, didn't he?
Yeah, 5 wickets. Five wickets in 8 overs, 95 runs.
So maybe after Sikandar Raza retired. So maybe after the likes of Williams and Raza retire, Zimbabwe have a new.
Maybe. But looking at the second test, Rashid Khan, 25, 4 for 94, 23, 7 for 66. Wow. A bit closer this time, but yeah, again, Zimbabwe, Ben Curran not shaping. Second innings, 38. Craig Irvine, so again, some performing, some not. But it's good to see them building Zimbabwe. Competing at least against Afghanistan. It's not what they want, they would want, but massively, massive shout out to them. So yeah, where is it? Let me. Yes, Arnab, what's you saying?
What's up, Hano? So nice to see you guys again. Is that Money?
Yeah.
Oh, always a pleasure to see him as well. Well, talking about this Afghanistan triumph, I think we all are
Yes,
very well aware. Hey, Money, so nice to speak to you, man. Okay.
Yeah, good,
going on.
good.
So your network issues resolved?
Not yet.
Okay,
Still on my mobile phone.
Wow. Okay. Well, talking about Afghanistan and Zimbabwe, I think we are pretty clear about this one thing, that Afghanistan are way above Zimbabwe in every aspect. Zimbabwe definitely don't have a bowling that can challenge Afghanistan, and it was always going to be a one-sided thing. I think Afghanistan at this point of time, they're good enough to take on the likes of New Zealand in a regular test series. Zimbabwe is certainly way below their standards at this point of time. What do you have to say about the fact that if you see the ODI World Cup 2023, that point of time, I think the only batter who was the only 2 batters who were doing well for them were Rahmanullah Gurbaz, and barring him, the other opener. Who was the other opener? The left-handed opener who scored a century against Pakistan.
Zadran?
Zadran?
Is it Zadran?
No. It's somebody else.
Who was it? Let's quickly check. What? The T20 World Cup, yeah?
Yeah, 2023 World Cup, yeah.
Where is it?
I got it. Ibrahim Zadran. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So the thing which I observed is, at that point of time, there was absolutely no support for these guys. And I always knew that a miracle only lasts at a certain point of time, simply because there is always going to be a scenario where you stand exposed, and Afghanistan eventually were against Australia. So my thing over here is that Afghanistan, I have now realized that they need to work on even more promising batters who can go out and deliver on a consistent basis. And Rahmat Shah, the manner in which he went out and scored a double century, I think it's an indication of his talent. So, like I mentioned previously, I had gone to watch Afghanistan versus England in Delhi. So over there, I noticed this one thing, that after a simply sensational start by Gurbaz and Ibrahim Zadran, where Gurbaz smashed the ball to all corners of the ground, it basically became a scenario where Afghanistan were 150 for 0, and then from there 169 for 4. So over there, they had to go about rebuilding the partnership and stuff. But now I think that they have become much more mature with their stroke play and with regard to negotiating the conditions out there. So this is a very good sign for Afghanistan and for the people back home.
No, it definitely is. It definitely is. So yeah. So we'll get to the last few topics. There's only a few left. There's a few. The next one we'll quickly just do predictions. This one, and then the rest we'll talk about. But this one is interesting.
Bro, can we discuss the South Africa triumph?
We discussed that already. Apologies. Early in the show.
Oh, want to do it again?
We spent 45 odd minutes talking about it. So yeah.
I think I had a conversation with Mr. Henry Davids. Have you heard of him?
Henry Davids sounds familiar.
He played for South Africa.
Oh yeah, this guy now. Yeah. I know. Yeah.
So he told me that South Africa brought a left arm element into their bowling, which is something which caught Pakistan by surprise completely. Would you agree with that?
What do you mean left arm?
Yeah.
Left arm. Oh, in terms of left arm batting or bowling?
Bowling.
Well, yeah. Well, Rabada. What is he? He's
Rabada is a right arm.
It's
I think Jansen.
Mapaka and Jansen are left arm. Yeah.
Yes.
I think the only thing that surprised them is Mapaka with the pace, because we included Mapaka for pace, so that's the only thing. But I want to talk just quickly predictions. India woman versus Ireland woman.
I think India will win 3-0.
They should. But the big news is that Smriti Mandana will lead the team. You look, the well-rested team that from India. They should absolutely smash them. So
I think they're phasing out Harmanpreet Kaur.
Harmanpreet Kaur and Renuka is rested for Ireland. So Raghavi Bist and Shanali Shatkarai has been called up. So India should smash them. So yeah, but interesting to see Mandana leading India. So interesting to see how she does as captain.
Bro, do you rate her as a captain?
I don't watch enough of India woman.
Yeah.
Have you been?
I haven't really seen her lead the Indian women's team. It's usually been Harmanpreet Kaur. And I wouldn't go so far to say that Harmanpreet's being phased out, because if you take a look at the recent matches involving the Indian team, especially the T20 World Cup, Harmanpreet has been one of India's better performers. I think Mandana obviously is starting to get back into a bit of form because she was disappointing during the World Cup. And this will be a good test of her leadership credentials. But Hannah, if you could just go back to the squad list, I want to see who the vice captain is because I don't know.
Vice captain is Deepti Sharma.
Deepti Sharma. Okay. So I thought actually that Jemima Rodriguez would be given a bit more responsibility, but maybe she's being asked to concentrate on her batting. And obviously Sharma has some experience, all-rounder. She might give Mandana a bit of support. But this will be a key series for Mandana, how she performs as a batswoman and also how she leads the team at the top of the order. And I think we can all agree that we cannot expect anything less than a 3-0 win for India. But don't underestimate the Irish women. You know, they can certainly put up a pretty good fight. And it's still a reasonably strong team with only 2 people, that's Harmanpreet and Renuka, who've been rested. So this isn't really a case of phasing out per se, just a case of resting more than anything else and trying out a few new players. And I think eyes are still going to be kept on the upcoming, I want to say, ODI World Cup. Yes. So that could be the time when, you know, India will start to look beyond Harmanpreet and maybe even Mandana and try and blood some new players in.
Be up, lads.
Be up, Steve. Be up.
Yes, Steve. How are you?
Yeah,
Hey,
cool,
Mr. B,
mate.
how
Cool.
are you?
Yeah, cool, mate. Cool. How you all doing? All right?
Awesome, bro.
Yeah, man. Cool.
So, yeah. Just
By the way, Mani, I got a
so
question for you. You mentioned that this is an opportunity
Yeah.
for the India women team to bring out some new stars. So, who are the players who you believe will grab this opportunity and make a name for themselves?
Well,
Well,
oh, right.
I want to take.
Yeah,
Yeah, Hannah, if you could just scroll down the squad list because obviously some of these players have played for quite a bit of time, and they've been in squads before.
so
I think Tejal Hasabnis is someone who could possibly, you know, get an opportunity. Maybe Tanuja Kanwar, but several of these players have already played in series before, so it's just a question of maybe the 2 replacements coming in. And ideally, I would have liked to have seen maybe some more players rested, maybe some players who don't have that experience, so that at least, you know, with the likes of you know, Mandana, Sharma, and Rodriguez, you still have an experienced core. So maybe they should have rested 1 or 2 more players. But I think the players who are in should definitely get their opportunity to play at least in one of the games, and maybe we'll see how well they do. Hopefully that answers your question.
yeah.
Thanks, Mani. I would encourage people to keep an eye out for Menu Mani. Barring her, I also feel that Priya Mishra. Could you go down, please? Saima Thakur and Titas Sadhu are the players to watch out for because I feel that they have also made a splash in domestic cricket and they have got some great potential. But then the beauty of Indian cricket is that it never fails to surprise you. So some of these unknown names can also go out and make a name for themselves.
that's fair. That's fair. I'll just quickly touch on this. The Big Bash is up and running now in full steam, and there was a surprise return. So Dan Christian, if you don't know,
Yeah, of course, Dan Christian. He's a legend, bro.
so he is the coach of the Sydney Thunder right now.
So he played.
And in the Sydney Thunder's previous game, there was a head collision between two teammates. I can't remember their names, but then Christian.
One of them was Cameron Bancroft.
Yeah, Cameron Bancroft, and It's another Aussie international. But Ed Collision, so he came in as a substitute player. Was allowed to come in basically. So and he took a wicket as well. So
Daniel Sams.
Daniel Sams, that's the guy. So yeah, he did he bat?
Wow,
Yes, he 23
that's
of
super
15,
batting. Super
260,
batting.
260s.
That's super batting. How old is he? 40, 42?
And 41. He turns
That's
42 this year.
wow. At 41, he's scoring 23 of 15. That's massive.
Um, and with the bowling, he took a wicket.
Wow. These are very economical figures. I think he should keep on playing. What is he doing? No,
Yeah, man.
he's a Sydney Sixers legend first of all. So I don't
Mm,
understand why. What is he doing playing? No, coaching Sydney Thunder. That's a massive question mark. But he's looking really good, man. At
yeah,
41.
that is the massive question mark. Why is he coaching the Sydney Thunder? But I guess opportunities,
Well,
opportunities.
boys, I think the reason why is because obviously once you get to a certain age, if you feel as though you can't do it anymore, you sort of
Mm,
take a back seat to consider doing something new. Of course,
mm,
we still see some 40-year-olds in certain sports.
Yeah.
no, you do.
If
Do you think he's
if he's
been
still good
do you
enough,
think he's been
no
sent
matter
by the
what age.
Sixers or the Thunder as a spy?
Yeah.
Who knows? But speaking about the Thunder, they're second in the log. Um,
I can't believe
on
it.
8 points. On
Sydney
eight
Thunder are
points.
the perennial
62
underdogs. How did
Mm,
they reach a second position? This is massive.
3 wins. 3 wins out of 4 wins out of 6. So 3 wins in a row. Was lost to the Brisbane Heat. The big shocker. It's still very tight. Like the top four still very tight. Only 3 points separates fourth and eighth. So yeah, very tight. I believe. How many games do they play? How many games? Let's just have a look. Well, Perth Scorchers. Let's just have a look at them. They've played 6 games. Do you play 8 games or how many games? So they've got 1 game left. 2,
Wait,
3.
guys, I recently got a chance to meet Michael Klinger.
Say again. 3.
I recently got a chance to meet Michael Klinger.
What? I don't know who that is.
Michael
Michael.
Klinger, Perth Scorchers legend.
Yeah, I remember him. I know him. Michael Klinger. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. So I think you play 9 games. It is. I think 9 games. If I counted right. I think you play 9 games. How many games? One. So it's fun. Yeah.
This is
Uh,
wonderful analysis, I have to say.
so the Sydney Sixers have 4 games left. Hobart Hurricanes has 5 games. So Perth Scorchers 4 games left. Okay, so you play 10 games. You play 10 games. 10 games you play. And then of course the playoffs. So still a lot. 4 games for most teams. Still lots can happen. But you want to say almost the Sixers are guaranteed. Need to go through on 9 points. I believe you need 12, around 12 points, then you're through. So yeah, the Big Bash. It's definitely eating up, and it's looking good. So yeah, let's see what happens, man. I expected the Perth Scorchers to be higher up. Didn't expect Albert Hurricanes to be where they are. But players. I think in the video I'd done, I had the Renegades, Hobart Hurricanes and the Stars Stars, yeah, and then Sydney Thunder and Adelaide Strikers as the potential top 4 contenders, and Perth Scorchers, Sixers, and Brisbane Heat in
Can I
that
name
top.
mine?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sydney Sixers, Hobart Hurricanes, Brisbane Heat, and Perth Scorchers.
You think Sydney Thunder drop house? I don't. I think 5 games left. Over Hurricanes.
I see them shortly
too
later
much.
on.
I think 5 games still a lot can happen with the Hobart Hurricanes.
I got a question for you, bro. Do you think that Glenn Maxwell needs to buck up and showcase more of his talent, because he's been horrible this season for his franchise? I think it's Melbourne Star. He's been absolutely
he hasn't
horrible, and
been
we
good.
all know all know that he's always been more of potential rather than some real genuine, performances, which is why his double century against Afghanistan, that was something which was considered, one of those nights where he came off, but then you can't rely upon him, which is an indication of the fact that, which was indicated by the manner in which RCB opted to release him. So do you think there is some need for, Glenn Maxwell to basically wake up and smell the coffee? Do you feel that Australia might, basically lose patience with him?
Yeah, potentially. I think internationally he's still got it, but yeah, he's not performing for the Melbourne Stars, but he hasn't been performing for the Melbourne Stars for a while now.
But can you really trust him with the bat? I mean, whenever he comes to India, he has always struggled, if I'm not wrong.
I think it just depends. It depends, really. So, yeah, but that's the situation. Let's see what happens. But it definitely is eating up. 5 games left. I don't know if the Hobart Hurricanes has it in them, but they've started off really well. So let's see. Be up to yourself, Chelsea fan. I wanted to discuss the SA20 that's starting on the 9th, I believe. But I will instead just do a recording to that. So just record a preview to that. Similar to the Big Bash I did. So yeah.
I got a question for you, Ano.
Yes.
Do you foresee Dinesh Karthik making a massive impact in the SA20?
Who is he playing?
Sorry, what?
For what team is he playing?
Durban Royals.
Paul Royals.
Paul Royals.
Paul Royals, yeah.
To be fair, maybe because they need some experience. I think they have one of the best squads in the. But he's definitely gonna help them, especially with experience. And he knows South Africa won the World Cup here, so he knows it. And he was so good for RCB. Yeah. So.
I was just wondering that it would have been so nice if Dinesh Karthik had retired from the IPL after representing Chennai Super Kings once, simply because he's always mentioned how eager he is to represent his home franchise at least once. But he never got that chance. I feel that was pretty sad. He could have been signed at least at biggest price.
There's a big reason for that, Arnab, and it's in the form of Jharkhand-born wicketkeeper who went on to become captain of India and is still captaining CSK, despite not contributing very much and basically relying on his aura, Mahendra Singh Dhoni. He, of course, obviously was the wicketkeeper and captain, so there was just no room for Dinesh Karthik. And I'm one of those people, and I think I've told you this, I was never a big fan of Dhoni. I thought Karthik, obviously, when he came into the Indian team before Dhoni, he was performing really well behind the stumps and proving he could bat well. But obviously, I think the Indian board got seduced by Dhoni's qualities as a batsman, that they felt that they had to bring him in. And then Sachin obviously liked what he saw in him. And again, it just goes to show that within India, the Indian cricket team, with all cricket teams, I think, you have these cliques and groups and people recommending certain players. I think Dinesh Karthik was one of those cricketers who was done very, very dirty indeed. And I'm not saying this out of bias because, I happen to be of Tamil blood myself, and I do have a soft spot for Tamil cricketers. Hence my mourning for the end of Ashwin Ravichandran's Indian international career. But Karthik had so many qualities. With Dhoni getting all the headlines, Karthik was never going to really hold down a spot in the picture for too long. And they mucked him around. They never allowed him to play play his natural game. He had to reinvent himself all over again, and it was never enough. And it's sad the way things have gone for him, but he's found happiness in some other respects, and you got to take your hat off to the bloke.
No,
that definitely makes sense. Yeah, but then I'll tell you this one thing. I have been somebody who's been following Dinesh Karthik for a long period of time. Although I respect him as a cricketer, I noticed this one thing about him, that he was always one among the good performers in every edition. Like, I'll tell you this one thing about Dinesh Karthik. He's one of the very, very few cricketers who got picked in almost every edition of the IPL. Like, he got his fair share of chances playing for teams like MI, RCB, Delhi Capitals, Delhi Daredevils. I think KKR as well. So basically, the thing is that in case you want to stand out and earn a position for yourself in the Indian team or in the hearts of the people in a fiercely competitive nation like India, you have to actually stand out. If you look at somebody like a Virat Kohli in 2016, he really stood out and made people take notice with his aggression and game-changing performances. Shubman Gill, when he scored those 800 runs for Gujarat Titans, he made people sit up and take notice. So the thing about Dinesh Karthik, which I observed, is that in each of these seasons where he represented different franchises, barring the ones where he represented RCB as a finisher, he was basically somebody who, used to do well in a moderate manner, but not in a manner which actually enabled his team to go on and, record a triumph in a losing cause. You basically have to be that kind of a person in case you want to get the attention of the people. And Dinesh Karthik, I watched him for MI. He was more of a player who used to believe in dropping anchor and then guiding the innings along to a 150, 140 or 160 or something like that. But then in case you want to truly be noticed, you have to be the person like a Pollard, somebody who goes out and changes the game altogether with your display. And that is something which Dinesh Karthik realized very late in his career. Even Shikhar Dhawan used to be somebody who used to believe that he would play the role of a responsible player, simply go out and, play the role of an anchor or something like that. But that is not never going to win the hearts of the people. What wins the hearts of the people is a match winner. And that is what he became after he joined Delhi Capitals and started smashing the ball to all corners of the ground. So that is where I believe that Dinesh Karthik needed to reinvent himself, and he did that at RCB.
Yeah, funny you should mention that because Hanno happens to be a big Delhi Capitals fan. I'm surprised, Hanno, that you haven't really mentioned DK very much whenever you've spoken about the team.
To be honest, I haven't really seen him play that much. I don't. When I have watched Delhi, I don't think he's played really from the time I've watched him.
Yeah, he used to play in 2012, 2013. But I'll tell you this one thing about Karthik. He's always been very lucky that he got picked for massive prices by whichever franchise backed him. Like, if you consider before KKR, he got signed by MI for something like 9-10 crore. And then RCB also gave him a lot of chances. They paid 11 crore for him. So he's always been very lucky when it comes to bids, especially in a nation like India, where cricketers go unsold when they least expect. So keeping that in mind, Dinesh Karthik actually got a very solid platform to actually make a name for himself in the IPL at least, by going out and rocking the league with his performances. But that thing, that ability to basically stand out and change the league altogether with your display, which he was capable enough of doing. Okay, there was never a talent issue, but he basically never pushed himself to that extent to impress the selectors. And when there is somebody like a MS Dhoni who's already occupied the position of the keeper, and then such charismatic captaincy and stuff like that, you have to be extra good to even get a chance to be a backup for him and be considered for a potential role of the starting wicket keeper. God forbid Dhoni gets an injury or something like that. Karthik actually failed to make advantage of that. I think Parthiv Patel was somebody who highlighted this very beautifully. He said that Dhoni did not take our chances. We never put ourselves in a position where we could replace Dhoni. And I feel that's something which is very beautiful. Acceptance of where they went wrong.
No, but even then, you also have to consider that Dhoni was a very different type of wicketkeeper batsman to the likes of Patel and Karthik. And what you've said there about wanting to be having to be that type of flashy match winner who would, win the hearts and minds of the Indian fans, I think that's the issue. Sometimes, for many fans who love the short nature of the game, there's no place in their heart for the grinders, the people like Rahul Dravid, for instance. I mean, Tendulkar was different. He could play in all formats and was absolutely magnificent. Dravid also definitely did his best in all formats and was a fine batsman in his own right, but was never one to really, dominate the headlines for being.
Manny, I'm gonna stop you there for 1 second. You can continue. Shout out to Sarcasm City, aka Flawless, for the raid. Appreciate it. Continue, man. Continue.
Yeah. So and that's the thing. Like that's where it was as if whatever Patel and Karthik would try and do, everybody just loved Dhoni more because he kind of had that appeal and charisma. I do get what you're saying, but there are some instances, for example, where you need an anti-Dhoni for the sake of the team, and yet people just when Dhoni became captain, that was when he started to effectively become undroppable. His test record isn't exactly up there with the best, but as a limited overs batsman, he was peerless, and his wicket keeping wasn't exactly spectacular. On occasions, it could be good, but there were times when it was also awful. And Steve and I have always had this debate about how your wicketkeeper should primarily focus on wicket keeping and then, be a good batsman. And we were talking about South Africa and how Kyle Verreynne can certainly, follow in the footsteps of the likes of Mark Boucher and now Quinton de Kock and a few others by being able to bat well lower down the order, but also be a good wicketkeeper. I feel for Dinesh Karthik, I really do. I was never one who really enjoyed the appeal of Mahendra Dhoni that much. But I think, to just sum up, because I think, we've already gone a bit over time, I think the Pal Royals have made a pretty good acquisition in getting Karthik. I don't think Jos Buttler's going to be playing for the Royals in this edition. Maybe Hanno can confirm that. But for some reason, Joe Root has now found a way to come in there. Maybe that can be practice for him to get his limited overs batting into a groove before the Champions Trophy. It could be. So Karthik coming in, I think he will feel as though he has some points to prove. And having played with the likes of Francois du Plessis and a few others, he will have come very highly recommended. Isn't that right, Hanno?
With all due respect, bro. Sorry to interrupt you. With all due respect, I would like to take you guys back to a day which was 6 years back. 6 years back, and it was an overcast scenario. There was plenty of rain. Because of that, one team managed to bowl out the other opposition, but then at the same time, the other team could not bat the same day. The match, which was a big event semi-final, had to be pushed to the second day. And in that second day, the Achilles heel of one of the teams, which is India, came back to haunt them. Left-arm swing bowling. The other team, which was New Zealand, they basically smashed the Indian batters' confidence to no extent. And there was a scenario where India were reduced to 19 for 3. I think you guys can understand the match being referred to. It's the 2019 World Cup semi-final between India and New Zealand. In that match, there was this player called Dinesh Karthik who had got a chance to lend some experience and add some stability to the batting with a game-changing knock. I mean, you can't get a platform which is bigger than this. But in that match, where he had the perfect opportunity to go out and showcase his class, he gave a very simple catch away to Jimmy Neesham, and India further sunk below. So the thing about the beautiful thing or the nasty thing about Indian cricket is that in case you're unable to take advantage of your opportunities, then it's going to be very difficult for you to make a comeback and make a name for yourself. I was just highlighting this simply because you mentioned the fact that there was, no market for somebody who could be an antithesis for somebody like an MS Dhoni and his flamboyance and everything. That day was the perfect chance for Dinesh Karthik to send a lasting reminder to all the fans that despite all the flamboyance, I'm also the person who can be relied upon to get the job done. So Karthik missed out on a glorious chance, and that is what the world of cricket is all about. You have to be there and willing to get the job done when it matters the most. And talking about Dravid, like you mentioned that he's got such a beautiful stroke play and everything like that. I would say that Rahul Dravid also had the ability to go out and smash the ball. Like if you remember his 50 or 22 balls against New Zealand, if I'm not wrong. So he had that ability, but at that point of time, the Indian batting lineup used to be supremely brittle in nature. So because of that, he was forced to hold on to one end while letting the other batter go out and score some runs. So it also comes down to different circumstances, different conditions. At the end of the day, like they say, like Vivian Richards said, that if you come down to bat at number 4 or you open, you are starting from zero. And another very important thing about the game is that you need to know how to score runs. You can defend the whole day, but then later on you also need to go out and score those runs. So Dinesh Karthik mainly could not convert his talent into delivering when it mattered the most. That's all.
Yeah, but again, and we'll drop this matter now because we've already gone over time. If memory serves me right, that also was the I don't know if Tony was. No, yeah, Tony actually was playing in that World Cup squad too because he was captain in 2001, 11, and 2015, and in 2019 it was Virat Kohli who was leading the team. And look, again, you may have a point when you say that sometimes you have to take your opportunities, but you also have to consider the stage in Dinesh Karthik's career. You've been denied your opportunities for so long because somebody was preferred ahead of you. And now you're put into a difficult situation where you're expected to do something. And obviously, you're right. Sometimes you have to get to take your opportunity. They say it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not get it than to get an opportunity and not be prepared for it. But all I'm saying is, you can't just punctuate Karthik's career on that opportunity and say that he didn't really take his chance. And let's not forget that by that time, Dhoni was coming to the end of his career, and Kohli also, was still in the ascendancy. So at the end of the day, that semi-final loss was not just the loss for Dinesh Karthik; it was a loss for the entire Indian cricket team. And I hope that maybe in time people will recognise Karthik as a batsman who, as a cricketer who definitely lent something to the teams for which he played. He lent something to the Indian team, and maybe in another scenario, if circumstances were different, he would have done better. But we'll just end this discussion now because we're going nearly 2 hours.
Well,
Yeah,
Hano
but
texted me
I
that
think
he wants to continue
Karthik will
for
definitely have
another 1.5
to.
hours.
No. We have to wrap it up, man. Gone about 2 hours almost. So,
Yeah.
because if we go on again, we'll sit here for 3 hours. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Hannah has to sleep. I want to watch some football. We need to end this.
Oh, which
We'll
football match do
continue
you want
this.
to watch?
Wolves
Huh?
Forest. Wolves
Wolves versus Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Wait, let's watch it together, man.
I'm definitely not on the stream, but be up, everyone. Again, big up to Flawless for the raid. Big up to Sarcasm City TV. People, go check it out. Amazing channel.
Okay.
So yeah, but be up to yourselves. This was episode 80 of the Off the Boundary show. And we'll see you all in a bit. Be up to Gershon and Mr. B for also. Cheers, people.